Hey guys, Rodney Miller here with Hard Money Partner, and today I'm talking with Rex Baker. Rex Baker lives in Oklahoma City. He's a local real estate investor. I've known him. I started real estate about 2003, and Rex was already flipping houses and buying and selling and buying hold properties, and so he kind of helped me a lot. We were both some of the original Home Investors franchisees here with another guy named Mike Pizzoli. And this is around 2003, right? Is that correct?
Right. Well, I bought my franchise in 1998, actually.
Oh, wow. You're way ahead of me. Wow.
Right.
Okay.
Well, right as you came in, I was, you and Mike got out pretty quick, and I got out at that same time, but that was at my 5-year anniversary.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So.
Gotcha. So were you the first home investor franchisee?
I know I was the first in Oklahoma City. I think I was the first in Tulsa. The first in Oklahoma, but there may have been another guy over in Tulsa.
Okay.
I remember there was a guy over there that I was communicated with a lot during those first few years. He was he had bought a franchise, and I don't remember if he was before me or after me, but he struggled. He didn't last a long time.
Yeah.
And then I kind of lost track of him. I don't know what happened to him, but I know he got out. I think he just gave the franchise back to him.
Gotcha.
So anyway.
Interesting. Well, so we go way back, and you kind of helped break me into the real estate. I learned from home investors, but then the real education hit after I got out and started
trying to buy.
Yeah, trying to buy and spend all that money on advertising and stuff. So you had to act pretty fast. You run out of money pretty fast. But tell us kind of a little bit about your background, what you're doing before you got into real estate.
Well, when I graduated college in 1980, I got out and got into I became a petroleum landman. And so I worked as an independent petroleum landman from about 1981 until 1989. There were a couple of busts in there where I was out of work and did some side stuff, but that was basically what I did for the first 9 or 10 years after I got out of college. And so then I started a used sporting goods store, kind of similar to Play It Again Sports, which was a franchise. I didn't even know that they existed when I started my company. I don't think that they did. I think I'd had my store open. I was at about 46 Northwestern. I had a little location there. And then I ended up moving across the street about 2 years later and bought that building and moved my business over there in about I think it was 1991 or 1992. And Western, that area was kind of a shambles back then. It's certainly made a huge turnaround in the last, whatever that is, 30 years. But so, and then I got into I opened up 2 more stores. I opened up a specialty fitness store where we were selling high-end fitness equipment to mostly residential, but we also had I had a commercial guy that was out calling on that was kind of the beginning of the hospitals getting in opening up little fitness centers within their hospital. So we were selling them a lot of equipment and maintaining their equipment and that kind of stuff. Then I opened up a store over in Tulsa sometime in about 1996, I think it was. That didn't go real well. But anyway, and then I ended up selling those 2 stores to actually 2 of my employees bought me out, and in 1998, and that's kind of when I got in. That's when I bought the Home Investors franchise. Was in late 1998. Started advertising in 1999, and just like you, I was freaked out because I think it took me about 3 months to buy something, and I was like, I was trying to use their formula and back
then, to spend a shitload of money on
spend a lot of money
advertising,
and you're just going, wow, this isn't working, But
mm-hmm.
but the first deal that I bought was I bought 2 houses kind of right right over off of, about 85th and Northwestern, and from a guy who was a tired landlord. And I went in there and rehabbed those houses, and sold them. And it's kind of funny because I live pretty close to that neighborhood, and I still drive by both of those houses kind of on a fairly regular basis as I go out of my neighborhood. But
nice.
Anyway, and so as the home investors formula back then was to buy and buy and remodel, and then their big deal was, the guy that started home investors was, he wanted you to use their financing and sell those owner finance, hold the note for a few months, season the note, and then sell it to home investors. And I tried that a couple of times, and there was a lot of paperwork involved, and I ended up kind of doing my own thing on the lower end properties. And that was part of the thing too, back in, when we started, that the prices of houses in Oklahoma City were, I was buying houses for, $10,000 to $25,000, $30,000, and they were only worth maybe worth 45 or 50. And so there wasn't a whole lot of room to make money. That wasn't the case down in Dallas where home investors started, but here it was. And so a lot of those houses, the lower end stuff, I just ended up keeping those and using them as rentals or owner finances on my own, and held those. I still got some of those to this day. And but mostly what I've done is, through the years, and what I like to do is buy and flip. It's what I think I'm good at, and it's certainly harder to get a deal these days, because when we were out there doing it, there weren't nearly as many people advertising as there are today. You've got so many different types of investors now.
Yeah, it's night and day the way it was. But some days the young guys will be talking about the good old days of today.
Yeah.
We're using like the old timers. We should call this the Old Farts Podcast.
That's right.
You're talking about the '90s, and these guys that are probably watching this weren't even born in the '90s. They're like, what? So yeah, that's what I found when I got into home investors. I went through a weekend course, learned about houses, learned how to buy houses, they had some little program on a computer that was part of the deal, which wasn't really worth a whole lot. But it was a nice little gadget they gave you to analyze deals, and get out there in the field and do it. And their big claim to fame was that the financing was there, easy financing through home investors. And that didn't really turn out to be so much the case. We really kind of had to find better financing.
Right.
With the local banks and stuff like that. But yeah, the model that when I came in, I don't think there's a model to sell back to them. Their model was find deals, rehab them, put them up for sale, sell them retail, and just keep churning them like that. Like you said, found out really quick that works good in Dallas, or did at the time, but in Oklahoma City, the spreads weren't very big for these little houses. And so it didn't work so well here. So you told me, you kind of taught me right off the bat, the buy, hold, and lease option model, where you just owner finance these deals and get $5,000-$10,000 down on these suckers, and put tenants in there and let them lease option it. And that helped a lot. That helped me transition, because like you said, when I started off with home investors, right off the bat, they just had me spending $20,000 a month in TV and billboards, and I got 2 months into it. I didn't buy anything. I was 40 grand in the hole. I started freaking out,
Started to panic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think I think that was pretty typical for everybody that came through that system, unless you just got lucky or paid too much. If you were using their numbers, it was even back then, it was difficult to buy something. You kind of had to get the knack of how to buy, how to talk to people, and it's just a numbers game,
Yeah.
But
I think if they were to do it again, or if I was to tell them how to do it, ease somebody into the process, let them learn how to take the calls, buy the house, before you just unleash the marketing beast out there to the world and have all these calls flooding in. You don't really know what you're doing. But Anyway,
Right.
it was like drinking from a fire hose, but it worked out. I mean, here we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
So so what was your preferred model of purchasing houses? Because I know you did a lot of lease options. You held some rentals. You did some flips. What was your favorite of all those?
Well, like I said, I of course I kind of like all three in a way. The rentals are probably the hardest thing, as you know, but because you gotta deal with the the service calls, and of course in the fix and flips, you've got to have a good contractor to work with, or contractors to be able to do the get in there, do the repairs at a good price, and come out and still make money. Sometimes you can spend 3 to 6 months on one property, and you end up hardly making anything because of cost overruns, or something a collapsed sewer line that you didn't see, or something of that nature. But and then you also have you have the ones that you think are going to be bad, and you end up spending less money on them. So,
Sure.
but I think of the three things that I've done, which is fix and flip, rentals, and then owner finance type, or rent to own type deals. I mean, fix and flip is my especially now, is my preferred methodology. So but like I said, it's harder to do. I mean, you got all these guys out there wholesaling, and I get, like everybody does, I get tons of deals from the wholesalers, and I'd love to buy from them, but there's just not enough skinny there to make any money. And I mean, I understand what they're doing. They're trying to make as much as they can to cover their whatever form of advertising they're doing, or their time.
Sure.
But when you get a middleman in there, it's hard to find a deal that you can, as an experienced flipper, that you can actually make money on. So I look at those deals all the time. I got one yesterday, and I was kind of like, wow, this looks like it might be a deal. And then I kind of dig into it a little more. I didn't go look at the house, but it was not in the difference was, it was not in, I thought it was in a different area than I originally, based on the address.
Yeah.
And it was in a pretty rough neighborhood, and the guy was saying it was worth $200,000. I'm like, man, I'd be impressed if I could get $200,000 for that. So
yeah, I just never really had a ton of luck with wholesalers. I know some people built their whole business off of dealing with wholesalers.
Oh yeah.
And I guess if you do it the right way, if you develop a good relationship with somebody that's doing a lot of wholesale deals, and they know, because I went through that period where I was wholesaling a lot. And I had a list of 1,000 buyers, but it came down to the same 3 buyers.
3 guys, yeah.
Yeah, And I remember I could go in and get a contract on a house, walk out the front door, and go, I'll be right back. Get on my phone and go, hey man, you want this house? Hell yeah, man, I'll take it.
Yeah.
It was done deal.
Yeah.
It was flipped before I didn't have to put it out on email or anything like that. So. But
yeah, I remember.
But we had to leave meat on the bone for these guys. These guys, if we started sending them crappy deals and didn't leave enough meat on the bone,
then they're not going to come back. They're
exactly. They're not going to come back.
They're going to be a one and done or two and done, and they're like, well, I can't make money, so why do it? So
yep.
Anyway, it's a kind of a conundrum now, in the marketplace, but
Well, let's talk about that, because we're old timers, so we've seen some. You've probably been through 2 downturns, after 2000, and then after 2008.
Right.
When things were just crazy on the upside, and then just crashed.
Right.
What are some takeaways from the cycles you've been through?
Well, 2008, I kind of skated right through that. I didn't really have that many problems. I mean, I kept doing what I was doing, buying, and I just, Oklahoma City, and certainly this last run up, or this current run up, because I think we're still at a peak, but in 08, it was like we didn't really crash like a lot of the other areas in the country, and so you were still able to buy and sell the properties. And, certainly right now that's the case. I mean, we've got, the pandemic going on, and, I looked on the MLS yesterday, there's like a 2-month supply of houses in Oklahoma City. It's extremely low. So the market's still really tight.
We're coming up on there's a reset coming. We're coming off a 12-year high. We know there's a reset coming. And the main thing I remember from 2008, well, number one, my rentals stay full. I didn't struggle at all with keeping tenants in these houses, because me and you deal in the bread and butter, lower end rental,
working class,
75,000. The lower end houses that they're going to bring 750 to 1,000 a month. They pretty much stay full through just about most situations. In 2008, didn't get hurt at all with that and that route. But what I do remember is all the lenders, all the local banks and all the lenders stopping the lending. Everything just froze, or they just demanded a lot more equity in deals. And then I had a portfolio of like 50 houses at the time, and I remember that my banker over First Enterprise, and they re-audited all my houses and did appraisals on all my houses.
Right.
And I think the regulators came in and forced them to do that. They all got freaked out about maybe thought they might have been over lending and stuff. And so that's one thing. Financing really tightened up, and a lot of the local banks got hurt, and a lot of the local hard money lenders got hurt because they were loosey-goosey with their money towards the end there. Money was just flying around. It was easy money. And so a lot of those hard money lenders wound up, almost getting shut down and having to take back a lot of properties. So, and
just like the number of guys that are in the business now, or people that are in the business now, you have so many more options now. You got all these out-of-state guys that you get stuff from them, I get stuff from them, and I've never dealt with them. I've only dealt with local people, local banks, and local hard money lenders. The first guy that I ever borrowed from was Al Kruger at Kruger Investment, and I don't even know if they're still in business. I know Al died a number of years ago, but
I think his son is still lending. I think he's still lending. You never hear anything about him anymore, though.
No, he's Al was much more aggressive and kept he had a steady supply of guys that used him. But with Al, you always had to have a little bit of money in the deal, or he wouldn't make you the loan. But you could go in there and you could get money, and he could have a loan set up for you in just a matter of days.
Yeah, so, that's what it should be. I mean, if you're going to pay a higher interest rate, and you're going to pay you're paying for convenience and ease of transaction, and if you befriend or you develop a relationship with a hard money lender, that's the way it should be. It should be easy money, not cheap.
Right.
Easy, fast money, to where you find a deal, and you already know this guy, and you kind of know how you guys work together. The money's there, and
the money's just the cost of doing business. You got to, unless you have your own money, you got to use somebody's money, and if you're going to grow, then you're going to have to expand your money sources.
Yep.
So
I mean, one thing I remember after 2008, I remember the banks getting really tight, and I remember a lot of wholesalers leaving the business, and a lot of real estate investors leaving, just getting out. It got too difficult.
Well,
and that'll probably happen again. I mean, it'll, and realtors. I mean, just real estate people that, it was just so easy money for so long, and then it just stopped, and then people just left and found jobs.
Well, it was harder work,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And now the thing in Oklahoma is we not only got the pandemic, we got the oil business running, we're running upstream against that. So, it seems like, there is going to be a reckoning again, when there are going to be some people washed out here, in the next few years. But
these national companies that came in and started doing hard money loans from California or from the East Coast or whatever, and they were doing 8% with 1 point, and they were hiring a local appraiser to look at the property, and they really didn't know the neighborhoods, they really didn't know those people get their ass handed to them. It's just a matter of time. Those
Oh,
guys,
yeah.
they overlent. They were doing 90% loan values, and a lot of those deals are going to go bad. And so I think when things do, and we're coming off a 12-year high. I mean, we're breaking all kinds of records for the stock market run, for the real estate run nationwide. We've never had a recovery and a appreciation of values like
we got now. Yeah.
It's insane. So the bubble's going to pop.
Right.
And this could be the start of the pop of the bubble. If this doesn't pop it, I don't know what will. But I just saw that the Midwest City Harkins Theater went into bankruptcy. You see that?
Right.
They opened 6 months ago, or they opened 6 months to a year ago, and now they filed bankruptcy. The bank just took it back.
Yeah.
That could be the start of the way things start.
I mean, I feel for those people, man. I mean, because they just, they've got that investment in the ground, and then they can't even put anybody in the theater for 4 months or 5 months, and now people, I mean, I don't think that many people are really wanting to go to a movie theater. So,
yeah.
I mean, there's the one over here by the old Daily Oklahoman building, the Flicks deal, where you go in there and you can drink a home brew or whatever and watch a movie. I mean, that building was finished literally right when everything shut down. So I'm just
I live at Covell, I-35. They put that new Showtime movie theater, bowling alley, arcade in there.
Yeah.
Literally opened about a year ago and was booming, and then they just shut it down. I drive by it every day. Not one car out there.
Yeah.
There's no way that's going to survive. So just think about all the huge pieces of real estate out there.
Right.
And
there is
gyms. I mean, gyms have got to be dying around here. I don't know, man. I don't want to be a doomsdayer, but I think that we're going to see some stuff. Which, the closer you can stick around, there'll be some buying opportunities if you can find lending.
That's what I see. There's definitely going to be buying opportunities. So a lot of these commercial properties are going to end up rolling into different types of uses because of Amazon and things like that, so it's just the retail is not going to be what it is. I drive around town. I'm just like, wow. I mean, there's so many retail places that have closed down and restaurants, that kind of thing, so, but anyway, and real estate is slow acting, it's not like the stock market that fell, in March, went down 30% and right back up 30%. Real estate can't do that. I mean, people aren't going to be able to sell their property that quickly. So it's a longer process. So I think, anyway.
There's some maintenance guys like, not now, please. Give me a little bit of time.
What's he doing?
Working on something up here. I don't know. It's about to fall on my head. I agree with you, man. 100%, man. It's interesting times we're living in. What are you doing right now? What do you got going on? You got any flips going on? You got any?
I'm working. Doing a little bit of advertising, trying to buy. I'm always trying to buy, but I'm also just like I've told you before. I'm kind of as my rentals and my rent to owns come open. I'm kind of rehabbing those and reselling them. So. That's kind of my game plan right now. I'm working on another concept that I've got with, RVs. It's kind of an RV park type concept that I'm kind of playing around with. I think, as climate change happens and people are needing to be able to move quickly, and also the baby boomers needing affordable housing, RVs are something it's kind of an interesting concept,
Yeah, you're seeing all these mobile home parks filling up with RVs and people,
Yeah. Well,
becoming static. They're not like moving through town on a vacation trip. They're taking their RV and parking it there and living in it.
Right.
And that's kind of what you're working on?
Yeah. I just think I think as the baby boomers age, and these markets change. I mean, I think there's going to be a huge market for RV parks, so because, I'm 63 years old and I just know, the RV business has been booming all through COVID, I mean, it's still rocking and rolling, so And people live in those, or live in them part-time, so, and plus my brother-in-law is out in California right now, damn, half the state's on fire, so I feel terrible for those people, but I mean, I think there's going to be a huge or mass exodus out of California because of these fires, and also the Western United States, Colorado.
There is. People are leaving there like crazy, moving to Texas, Oklahoma, in the middle of the country, East Coast. They're moving down to Florida. There's a major migration going on in the United States, and we're always looking at apartment complexes, and that's kind of what we like about the area that we're in, is that there's a shift, man. There's a migration going on. People are trying to get out of these high tax, high cost areas with all this crime and riffraff. We're trying to move to areas that are more
safer and
safer,
more stable.
More house for the money. It just makes more sense. So
and you've
got country's starting to look a lot better, these folks.
Right.
So maybe it's not flyover country anymore, man. So you flip. So you're rehabbing your house, some of your rentals, selling them off, putting cash in the bank, getting ready for whatever.
Getting ready for the next round, So, but I'm still trying to buy. If I can buy something, I'm still buying. I'm still advertising. I'm doing limited advertising off of some research stuff some research lists that I'm buying, and but it's
one thing that we did really well back in the mid 2000s when we were working together. We did a lot of advertising, man. We did a lot of door knockers. We did mailers. Remember those little things that went in the people's mailbox that we did?
Oh, yeah.
What were they called? The missing child?
Yeah.
Missing child.
It was a little postcard with the missing children.
It went in every mailbox.
Yeah.
You could sponsor the backside of it, man. And for
it was like a penny a piece.
There's nothing, and we hit every mailbox, and that did really good. And,
and that company's gone, I guess, or they're not in Oklahoma City anymore.
That ended. And what else did we do? We did all kinds of stuff. I even one time paid an airplane to pull a banner over the city.
I thought we did that together. I thought we
might have done that. Remember, and we had him go. He came from Chickasha.
Yeah.
Pulled the We Buy House sign all the way up.
All the way up I-44.
I-44 and went all the way up to Edmond and did around, just went straight back, just went around, right around the city. Didn't get one damn call out of that, but we tried it.
It was too high up,
Yeah, it is, we tried all kinds of crazy crap, man.
Yeah.
It was good times. Well, I think we're out of time, man. It's been 35 minutes, but I want to bring you back in and talk to you more about advertising, IRA investing. We both invest with our IRA, and a lot of people I want to know about how to use their IRA to invest in deals.
Right. Yeah, that's
one thing I'm going to start doing with hard money. I'm going to start lending to folks that want to invest with IRA, because if you don't have a personal guarantee,
right,
you can borrow against your IRA for some of these deals you're doing, and
right.
As long as there's a personal guarantee,
non-recourse loans.
Non-recourse loan. You can start pulling money out. You can start taking money. What am I trying to say? You can borrow money outside of your IRA.
Right.
You have a house that's worth $100,000. I could loan you $50,000, and you can put that $50,000 in your IRA to buy another house, and you can really expand your IRA. A lot of people don't know about that. So we'll talk about that. If people want to get a hold of you and pick your brain, or I don't know, want to talk to you about real estate, how do they get a hold of you?
I'm 409-4319 is my number.
405?
Yeah, 405-409-4319. Call me anytime.
Cool. Rex Baker.
Rex Baker.
Thanks for coming on, man, and I'll definitely bring you back. We'll talk some more about some of these other topics that we didn't talk about today. But thanks, man.
All right, thank you, Roddy. Have a good weekend.